No, it's not that I have nothing to say to you. I just feel like anytime I don't start recording, like we say something hilarious and I'm like, fuck, I wish we had gotten that. Um yeah.
Down on tape. Why do I
Hi.
look so puffy? Yeah, and
What?
she has a full face of makeup.
No, I don't.
God.
First of all, I do not have a full face of makeup on. I have
Okay,
concealer on.
rub it in. She
No,
has great skin. Rub it in.
no. I'm on my sporty spice because I came home from the gym. I walked my man and I was like, yo, I don't even have time to shower. I need a haircut so badly.
Oh, girl, I'm getting one right after this.
Let me just put a hat on and see if it works. And I put
But
a
it
little
does.
bit
I
of
mean, listen, your hat moments are really cute. They're really cute.
thank you. I love a hat moment. Yeah, I put a little bit of concealer on and that is it because the bags was giving designer.
She said Prada Gucci. Oh
I
my.
own not a Prada in this home, but here she's giving Saks Fifth Avenue. Can
Oh.
I see what's behind the counter? Yeah, it was not cute.
Okay, probably not. They won't let you see what's behind the counter.
Literally, they are calling security right now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, Delon, in our shopping malls episode, you said that you wanted to keep the SAT word versus $50 word comparison going on the pod. So you know what? I decided to make a game out of it.
No, it was really cute. I mean, I think you're talking about the moment where your imposter syndrome got the best of you, and you tried to drag me for using ubiquitous in the sentence. But yeah, it was cute. It was cute.
Oh, I'm glad you remember. I'm glad that your brain is braining with us here today. Listen, some of us open our mouths and a thesaurus falls out. And by some of us, I mean Delon.
Hair flip.
And that brings us. Oh, wait, you're frozen. Hold on. Okay. Which brings us to our game. It's time to play SAT word or $50 word. Here's how we play. I will give you a word, and Delon, you will have to decide if it's an SAT word, meaning a word that someone uses when they want to sound smart, or a $50 word, which is a word that helps someone make their point more clear. And then I will tell you if you are wrong or not.
Wait, that's a dictatorship. That's not a game.
I'm giving Kim Jong Fran.
Ew. Okay, great. Let's play. Let's play.
Okay. First word, ephemeral.
Ooh, do I need to define what it is? Because
Yeah,
who knows.
you know what? Let me see what kind of score I'm giving you on this test.
Ephemeral. Ephemeral means
use
like,
it in a sentence.
Fran's attention was ephemeral when we were talking.
Oh, okay. Drag me. So, class, ephemeral means lasting for a very short time. Is this a SAT word or a $50 word?
Definitely an SAT word, but a great word.
Really? I like the word ephemeral, and I do feel like it helps make the point clear. So you're wrong.
Oh, wait. Ubiquitous is an SAT word, but ephemeral is a $50 word?
Yes. Next word.
Oh my God. You guys, do you see what
Next
she's
up-
doing to me?
Next up, carte blanche.
Ooh, carte blanche. This is like French, carte blanche.
Mhm.
What does carte blanche mean?
It means the freedom to act as one wishes or thinks is best.
Yes. You have carte blanche to do whatever you want.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the SAT word. Is that a phrase? Is that a
Yeah,
phrase?
I think it's a phrase more than a word.
I would say
I'm gonna say it's a $50 word because I use it all the time.
what this game is. You are Kim Jong Fran. Damn. Carte
Okay.
blanche.
Next.
Man, you're wrong.
Next up, loquacious.
I hate you so much. Loquacious. My sister's name's Lucretia, so I think we're talking about her. No, loquacious means. It's a good one. That's a fucking good one.
Is it a $50 word or is it an SAT word?
Oh, well, I feel it's a $50 word because you use it.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Shut up. No, it's an SAT word. Loquacious? It's
Okay, you're
17
correct.
syllables.
You're correct. It is an SAT word. It is. Okay, next up. This is also a phrase. Ludicrously capacious.
What is this?
Do you not get the
game?
reference? You don't get the reference? This is from
Ludicrously-
Succession. You didn't watch the final season of Succession?
You've made an enormous faux pas, and everyone's laughing up their sleeves about your date.
What? Why?
Why? Because she's brought a ludicrously capacious bag.
What?
What's even in there? Huh? Flat shoes for the subway? Her lunch pail? I mean, Greg, it's monstrous. It's gargantuan. You could take it camping.
When that girl showed up with a Luke, God, I can't even fucking.
That's what
Now
you
me
get.
trying to
That's
drag
exactly
you.
what
I can't
you
read.
get. Look at me in the camera. That's what you get.
Ludicrously capacious bag. You don't remember that girl showed up with a giant designer bag in the final season of.
That was 2022.
No, it wasn't. It was 2023.
Girl, I don't remember this. She showed up with what bag? Whose bag?
Oh my God! It's spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched the final season of
Was this in Italy?
Succession. No, it's after, I think it's at the funeral or at like one of the parties. This girl shows up. They're at Logan's house, and this girl shows up with a big designer handbag. And there's this whole conversation about her bag being too like expensive and big and like gaudy and designery. You know, they're doing quiet luxury on Succession. They're not trying to flaunt it in their faces. And there's this whole conversation about her bag being ludicrously capacious. I thought you were going to get that reference.
No, not.
You didn't finish. You didn't finish Succession?
I did, but I don't remember this one reference from the show about a
Wow,
bag.
I guess you aren't paying attention.
I thought you were
the real Succession Hive. We're paying attention. We had all the references.
Okay, well then, what was Shakespeare? Was the show about? Tell me that.
What do you mean? What was the show? What was Succession about?
No. They say that Succession is a Shakespearean play. That it's relevant. What Shakespearean play would you say?
Okay, flex in the theater degree. Okay,
ready?
We see somebody graduate. See, and that's how it proves that you love a SAT word. You got to flaunt your little degrees in my face. I don't know. I didn't finish theater school. I don't know.
It's called King Lear. And King Lear, there's a king, and he has 3 daughters, and they all are vying for his kingdom. And so all of Logan's kids are members of the King Lear family, and he's King Lear.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, even though you didn't know the reference, I'm going to give that one to you.
Thank you. I schooled you.
You know what I mean? I'm doing a little charity work here on the pod. All right, our final word is analogous, which class, I'm sure y'all know this word, an adjective meaning comparable in the way that one clarifies the nature of things being compared. Delon, SAT word or $50 word?
I know you're going to say there's a $50 word, but I think it's a $50 word because I think it's a $50 word. It's not an SAT word because we use analogies all the time in the English language, right? Yeah, I say it's a $50 word.
And you know, someone who uses SAT words would say that analogous is a $50 word because you don't need to use analogous. You could just say it's like watching paint dry instead of this is analogous to watching paint dry. Like you don't need this word.
No, you could also say, you know what that makes me think of? That's a Fran quote. Ready?
You know what it makes me think of? 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 Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? Wow. Was that a Fran impression?
You know what it makes me think of? You know what this reminds me of?
Wow. Okay. Who's dragging who now?
Ooh, wait. No.
Listen. Listen. Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. Hello and welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says, screw vacation days, give me a vacation month. Okay. I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm an actress, a producer, writer, and former graphic designer.
And I'm DeLon Grant. I'm an actor, a singer, a photographer, and a writer. And class, today we are talking about vacation. So As artists and creatives, Fran and I both travel a bit more than the average person for work. Our careers are full of fall under the gig economy umbrella, as we like to say, and so much of our work takes us away from home. I'm currently working on a new play in Boston. Quick plug for my show: it's called A Case for the Existence of God. So if you're in the Boston area, come down to Speakeasy Stage Company to see me act. It's a beautiful play. Don't say that a lot, Fran. I don't promote
I
myself
know.
a
I'm
lot.
proud of you.
Yeah, but I'm really proud of this play. I think it really moves. It starts a conversation, and I think it's important for society to have these types of conversations. So come on down if you can. But Fran, you just returned from the Sundance Film Festival in the Writers Lab, and that's like a huge benchmark. So I just want to give you praises for that.
Thank you.
But I toured nationally and internationally with the Broadway show Jersey Boys for 3.5 years.
Oh my
Fran,
God.
you had a multi-city book tour in 2018 to promote your book. Well, that escalated quickly. Not me giving all of our resumes.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Right, but it's just to like amplify that we travel so much for work. But it's not only work that keeps us, racking up those sky miles.
Ooh, I love collecting miles. I'm a JetBlue girly. A JetBlue, if you're listening, give me a care package or something. We do love taking vacations and getting those stamps in our passports. Delon, we have been on 4 international vacations together, which is
Crazy.
wild to say out loud. 3 of them were in Mexico, where everyone seems to think that we are a couple. And then there was your wedding in Spain, aka your 40th birthday.
It was totally a wedding.
But we have also taken vacations with our other friends internationally. We've also done solo getaways. We've been to Paris, London, Cancun, Hawaii, Tokyo, Costa Rica. And one of the things I really appreciate about the both of us is as we've gotten older, we've really started to hone that secret sauce of how we like to vacation and how we vacation well with others. Now put that on a shirt.
Talk about it.
Vacations well with others. Okay. Because you cannot just go on a vacation with anybody. And there are some people you will never go on a vacation with again or talk to post vacation again.
Girl. I mean, I am thinking in our Rolodex, both of us have those people. We were like, oh, never again.
Oh, decline. Do not know her. Going in
Totally.
the phone book graveyard. So, class, secure all baggage in the overhead compartment and strap yourselves in tight because today we are taking a trip down our vacation timeline to unpack, pun intended, where we made some. Because today we are taking a trip down our vacation timeline to unpack, pun intended, what made some of our dreamiest vacation successes and our floppiest experiences nightmares, though some of them were just always going to be bad no matter what.
Right.
And then we will reminisce while. Sorry, there's a piece of hair in my eye and like.
No. Girl, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
And you know what? Because last time you pointed out that you always have tech issues, I had tech issues before starting. My microphone wasn't recognized. I had to restart my computer. I'm sorry.
Just gremlins, tech gremlins.
I was just going through so much. Okay. And after we reminisce, we will each give our best tips and tricks on how to fix these trips. Try saying that 5 times fast. So let's dive in. Vacations. Let me fix it.
So, Fran, before we fully dive into the specifics of our trips together, I want to give us a bit of a soft launch and talk about vacation versus travel because
Yes.
I kind of think of them as different experiences, right? And I think people fall into different categories, right? They love one or the other, and I'm just a greedy bitch, and I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive. I just realized I kind of want both experiences wherever I travel. And that's probably why I keep going back to Spain because I get both. Now, that said, I definitely feel like I'm more of a traveler because I want an itinerary.
He wants a PDF.
Girl, didn't I send for my Spain trip? I sent multiple emails, PDFs, color coded, options,
my God. And
hyperlinks.
I was genuinely so impressed. The graphic designer in me was like, okay, give us a silhouette and a color themed palette for the PDF.
I went to Photoshop. I said, click, 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 clack, clack. Okay.
He did a photo shoot class.
He really did.
Had his hat on and he had a yellow frock. It was all well coordinated. I was very impressed.
But I do think travel should include an itinerary. It just requires one for me because you're trying to experience the culture of a place. I'm gonna go sightseeing, museum going, see some performances. I want to eat some good food. So I'm definitely going to do research because I want to get the best, return on my investment. I think that you are more of a vacationer, having traveled with you several
Okay, why
times.
does vacationer sound like a slur? I just feel like, ooh, the vacationers are here. Like,
That's what I think. That's what people feel like when they see Americans in other countries. I think they go, "Ugh, God."
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, totally. Listen, it's true. I am who I am. You want an itinerary, and I want a beach.
Mm,
And I definitely think I learned the difference between vacation and travel when we went to Spain for your
mm,
40th, because, we were definitely there to have a good time, but it was planned. And
mm.
then Shamika, my best girlfriend, and I, we stayed in Madrid for 5 days after. And I mean, homegirl had me getting my steps in because we were going everywhere. And the thing is like I love traveling. I think it's
Hmm.
great to go and experience other cultures. And there's nothing against it. And the thing is that like I have such an organized and scheduled life that when I
Mm,
go on vacation, she wants to sit down. Okay. I
yes.
work very hard at home. I want to lay down on vacation. And that's not to say that I do not want a taste of the culture. Emphasis on taste, because she gonna treat herself on
Okay.
vacation. I want a little sweet treat.
She does.
Um, do they have tres leches? And can I
Oh,
order
wait a minute. We'll
seconds?
get to that Trace Lacey's class. Just you wait.
It is about self care and rejuvenation for me when I am leaving my home and putting together a suitcase.
Right.
I want to relax. And one of the things that I think that you and I both do really well is we understand that self care piece. We have both learned to prioritize vacation and travel no matter where we are in life.
It's so true, and that's one of the things that I feel like we've taught each other. And I've had some of my best travel experiences with you, but also alone.
Hmm.
There are these small, like incremental challenges, a language barrier, navigating public transit, that just make me feel braver. So in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
I feel like that growth is also self care. I've been to London, Spain 3 times, Paris, Iceland, Mexico City, Berlin, Montreal, all by myself, which is a lot of fucking cities. I realized when we
Yeah.
were putting this episode together. But you haven't traveled alone a ton. But when I was thinking about it, didn't you go to like Utah or Wyoming on like a solo trip somewhere in like the desert?
Yeah, I went to a resort in Arizona by
Arizona.
myself, and it was kind of a work trip. I had just finished working on the show that never has seen the light of day at Comedy Central,
Oh shit.
and I had gotten a script assignment. I don't know if you remember this, that I had sold a feature script, or I had gotten hired to rewrite a feature
Oh
script.
yes.
And I was like, I need to just get away to try and do this.
Hmm.
Spoiler, the movie has never come out. But I did go to Arizona and stayed in this like swanky resort. And I just like wrote and swam and went to the spa. And it was really restorative. And it was truly my first time. No, I went to Paris one time by myself.
Oh, did you go for a work thing as well,
I
right?
went for I went for a work thing. And
That's
you know
right.
what the thing is like in hindsight, while both of those trips were good trips, they were hard. Like, I mean, I like being by myself, but all the things that you enjoyed, the language, like, trying to figure out the language and getting around, I was like, I don't like this. I don't speak French. I'm such a bougie bitch. I was like, I did learn how to say parlez-vous anglais, because
Yeah.
that helps open the door, especially in France. They want you to try and speak French.
Right, right.
But man, that trip was hard. I was
Parisians are terrible.
lonely.
I mean, Parisians are really awful. I mean,
Yeah,
I gotta
it
go.
was
I gotta go to
hard.
another part of France. I have to go to another part of France because they say, yes, Paris is hard because of that. Because it's you feel alone because nobody wants to talk to you.
Oh my god, people were I mean, and I don't want to paint the whole place with
Right,
the same
right.
brush, but I noticed that what was hard for me, because I don't speak the language, and I felt this when I went to Spain, where I was like, man, it's hard being somewhere where I don't speak the language, and I feel embarrassed to admit that I don't speak the language, and I feel like I'm a walking stereotype. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this dumb American who's in our country and doesn't speak the language, and it's very lonesome in that way. And I think I was not prepared for that lonesomeness. If I had been, I think it would have been different for me.
And along those same lines, I mean, do you feel like Do you feel comfortable traveling or vacationing alone? Because the thing I've always kind of made assumptions with female identifying people is that it's a safety issue, and that I mean, I'm sure there's some. Please, class, if you are a female identifying person who is like, "Girl, I'll travel, I don't care," let us know. But yeah, what was your experience there, and in terms of like feeling safe and all that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't feel unsafe at any point, and I don't I like my alone time, but
Hmm.
again, I think when I went to Paris, I was not mentally prepared for how hard that part of my trip would be. I was alone for like 4 days, and then I went out to like a really small town in the countryside for work stuff.
Hmm.
So I knew I was like my trip was going to have more people at some point. And I think that that did make it easier. As for the safety component, look, I'm a woman that lives alone. And so I often have times where I'm like,
Mm.
you know what? I'm going to call a car. You know what?
Yeah,
Or actually,
yeah.
can you walk me to my car? Or like, let me check to
Mm,
see where the exits are. I'm always in
damn,
that
man.
headspace. But I will say that when I have left the country, there's never been a time where I felt personally unsafe, and that's a privilege because I know that that's not everyone's experience, especially as a Black person,
Yeah,
right? Like
legit, legit.
depending on where you're at, you like, now I know y'all some vintage white people. I really gotta be careful.
Wait, you're not like, and we've talked about this, but as I've gotten older, I've just become, as I say, scarier. And just
Mm,
like situations I've put myself in the past, I'm a little like, you just have more experience behind your belt, and you're like, yo, something could go left, right? We talked
mm,
about this on the pod
real
before.
quick.
Okay, I obviously don't mind traveling alone, but you know, as I've done it more and more, I realized the third day of my trip, after I've seen my, museums, I've seen my sites, I kind of like have this overwhelming need to share it with someone.
Mm.
And I'm remembering, back to Paris, my trip to Paris. I was sitting like, eating al fresco, having my glass of wine, and I had just like done everything, and I just wanted someone to talk to about it, and it kind of like maybe like
Mm.
a little lonely and sad.
Is that why you
Um,
picked up that man on a bike?
oh, girl.
The bike rolled by and he was like, "Parlez-vous anglais?
No, he said.
Put your
Wh-
kickstand
he
up
said.
over here."
He said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Home with you." Girl, I was
Listen,
in it.
Delon had another leg of his trip, and he said, I want to be with your third leg on this part of the."
Girl, listen, listen, tectonic plates shifted on that trip. I canceled. I was supposed to go back to Spain and go to
You
London again.
stayed with that man. Now, look, now to
I
the
sure
point about
did.
scarier, that could have been a podcast.
Well,
Finding
literally
Delon.
though.
Where is he at?
Wait, that's exactly my point though. I like, you don't know this person and you're staying in their house and you're
Mm-mm.
in this country by yourself, Delon? Like, that's a
Mm.
risk.
But I know he was fine. I know he
Oh, he
was
was
fine.
so
And
sexy.
he
So
had that. And did he have a Parisian Musk or not?
not a Musk. Not a Musk. Ew. No, he didn't have a Musk. He had a jacket on. He had a
I'm talking
button
about
down.
pheromones. I'm
I
talking about
grew up. Well, there was something happening there. See, oh God, don't get me started. He took control. I don't know what that song is. But it was so good that when we went back to Spain, I WhatsApped him again. Though he was like, "Who this? New phone? Who this?"
Not you having hoes in different area codes. I love that for you. So, class, back in 2014, Delon and I took our very first friendscation together. I got us a Groupon deal that gave us a round trip airfare and a 5-night stay at an all-inclusive resort in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And it is such a benchmark for me and for our friendship because that was the first time in our lives that we could afford to
Talk
take a trip
about
in
it,
that
Fran. Talk
way. I mean,
about
we
it.
did get it on discount, but
Right, that part. Right.
but I love that we started doing that together. And look at how excited we are in this photo in the doc. We are so happy.
We made it. We made it.
We are jumping up in the air, class. And what's funny is that talk about like perspective. I remember being so insecure about my body on this trip, and both of us were like, we gotta get in shape. And like we look fucking banging.
Yo, what's so crazy is like I knew this conversation was gonna come up when I put this pic in the doc, and it's just so heartbreaking. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I should reframe it and say like love your body as you are, because like,
Yeah.
another 10 whatever years from now you're gonna be like, God, it worked. It was working.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like we busted our asses, and I'm like, how did I, even in this picture I remember
You're
feeling
the
like
shoulders,
the trapezoid. With
the
trapezoid, with
they're trapezoid.
trapeze, what's it called?
They're traps. You're traps.
What do you, isn't it
They're
trapezoid?
just called traps.
No, traps is short for something.
Yes, it is. But
Trapezius.
I don't know.
Trapezius is a muscle. Girl, it's a
Okay.
your trap. The traps is trapping, okay?
Yes, they look
But
great.
I remember feeling like I was still fat in this photo. Like I felt so bad about my
Mm.
body,
Yeah, I mean, listen, we could do a whole episode about body image. I think that would
Right.
be great to put on our list. But yeah, I remember being stressed and feeling like, oh my God, I'm gonna wear this bikini and like, am I
And
gonna
listen,
look okay? And
the
like, we look
the
great.
stomach is flat. You are. I mean, you look great. We look fucking amazing. We look
Yeah,
amazing.
we look hot. We are on the sandy beach. There's water behind us. We have these giant smiles on our faces. We look like we won something.
The lottery, literally.
Literally. I actually found the email that I sent you, Delon. This is from March 6th, 2014. It says, check it out. There are tons of great travel deals on Groupon. Want to try and plan a vacation together when you're off next? It'd be great for us to focus on getting in shape. Oh my God.
I mean, even then,
Plus, Upworthy will pay for my vacation. Whoop, whoop.
I love.
So we're not going to name the resort in any of these vacations that we're going to talk about because we are not trying to get sued. But also, I'm not trying to give people free promo. This is
Talk
something
about
that I've had to come to grips with as a quote unquote public person. Is I mention a brand and then suddenly everybody's buying it up and they're getting coins and I don't get anything. So, if you are a travel destination and you want Delon and I to take a free trip
Ready?
and you want to, also pay us for our time,
Ready?
we're down to do it. But we're not doing no free promo, not in 2024.
Okay.
So the thing about this resort is it was a Groupon resort. It felt old and used. But the wild thing about it is that you could not take a bad photo there. Every single photo looked amazing.
That was just so mind-boggling to me because everything was just super dated.
Yeah.
And I remember walking up to the beach in the beach chair and I was like, yo, this is not even, this is like brown, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's outside, but the rooms were like a motel room. There was no air conditioning. There
no
weren't even
air conditioning
windows.
in Mexico.
Come on. Do you remember there wasn't any windows in our room either?
No, I think my brain just like decided to cut that part out. I remember it being really, really hot and there being like mosquitoes in our room.
It was a mess. So I put some pictures in the doc, and Fran, this is a good call. We talk about the doc a lot, and someone on Instagram, we forget who it was, asked, what is the doc? When we talk about the doc, it's literally a Google Doc that Fran and I put together to outline the episode. As Fran has said multiple times, there's a lot of research that goes into this. There's a lot of writing that goes into this. So we're literally just scrolling through the doc.
Yeah,
and,
it's funny because when I shared this on Instagram, if you're not following us on Instagram, get your life together at Fix It Pod. But people were really shocked that so much of our show is scripted and that we're actually reading. I mean, granted, we definitely improvise and that's the fun of our show, but a lot of planning goes into these episodes. And there is, in fact, a Google Doc in front of us while we're recording. And I am making it a point to be better about sharing photos from the doc on Instagram because we often talk about things and then we don't share them. But we will share some photos from this vacation and all of our vacations on Instagram post episode.
Yeah, because even as I put these photos, I went literally dug through our emails because I keep all of my emails. I have like 50,000 emails.
Same.
And I just like Googled your name and Googled that time. And I went to the website and found some photos from this fucking resort. And even as you look, describe what these photos look like because it looks like a great resort.
Oh my God. I mean, listen, these photos, and now I'm looking at them with a critical eye.
Yes.
They are too perfect, right? Like photos of a resort are supposed to look nice, but
it's
like
PR.
There's like a little sheen on these photos. I don't know. It looks like AI a little bit. But there's like a 3-ring pool. It's giving Olympics, you know, the 3 circles. These cabanas. Oh my God, the cabanas looked amazing.
And they were so dirty.
They were so dirty, and it was like you were on a very thin piece of
Yes.
cardboard.
Yes.
They were not comfortable. And then there's like this long winding pool with like a little hut where you could go up and get like drinks and stuff. And there's lawn chairs or like chairs like in the pool, like on a little shelf almost, so
Mhm.
you could dip your feet in the water while you're laying by the pool. And even this room, now we did not have a balcony.
We did not have a balcony. Or I may be exaggerating, but I don't even remember a window, yo. I really
Yeah,
don't.
it definitely was like a dungeon. It was very warm. It was
Yes.
way too warm in that room. But yeah, these photos look amazing, and all of our photos from that trip look incredible.
So incredible. One of the looking at the last photo that I put in here of these massage chairs. Massage. I put the massage beds in here on purpose. So guys, Fran and I were like, "Ooh, let's get some massages. Let's get like a couples massage." So Fran
Well,
had
and that was our first mistake. Why are we doing a couples massage?
well, right. That's why Mexico thinks we're in a relationship. Okay. So we could get these couples massage. And I can't remember, did you get one before me and then we went back? I can't remember.
No, I
Anyway.
remember it was like the package was like the multi hands. So like multiple people were massaging you at once, but it just felt like they were hitting you with dead fish.
It was a floppy hand. And you even told them, I think we both were like, you can please go harder. Like you can
Oh,
go
no.
harder. And she was like, okay. And literally just slapping my back with her hand. I
No.
was like,
And
what?
here's the thing. I will say that when you get a massage and you're not going to someone that you've gone to before, blank, cool, shout out to Jesse. They often will start light because they don't know. They don't know. And I'm sure they've dealt with tourists who are like, I can go harder, and then they get sued. You know?
Sure,
So
yeah.
I understand they always start light, but we kept asking them, you can go harder, you can go harder, you can go harder. And it was just it was
Well,
bad.
and honestly, so that was, I think, probably one of the first like oh no, I got massages before, but because I'm such a big dude, these women were like just smaller. And so now, because of that experience, I swear to you, every time I go to get a massage and it's a woman that's smaller than me, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awful because of that experience. And I literally say it before, I'm like, listen,
Do you
can
ask
really
for a male? Do you ask for a male now? Because
one place I go to regularly, I do,
Okay.
but I don't, because it also feels like a little bit of like little sexist. So I try to like push back and go, hey, if I get a woman, if I'm in some random place and I just got a massage, I'm like, hey, you can go hard, go as hard as you like I want you to sweat.
Feel free to put your knee in my back, and they do that sometimes.
Oh
they get on
wait,
top
no,
of
I don't.
you.
No. Wait, when they step, have you had them step on your back?
No.
I go to this
They
place
step on
where
you?
they step on your back. They have pipes on the ceiling that they can hold on to.
That seems dangerous.
Oh, well, because it's my spine.
Not you doing Cirque du Soleil on my back.
What are you saying? A fucking ballet bar on my back. Shit.
Now, do you want to talk about the tres leches? Because
Oh my
you got
gosh.
it in here. So go ahead.
She said, "Go ahead and drink."
Oh, this is the part where we got to talk about Francesca's dietary needs.
So let me preface this by saying, so many parts of this resort were just like underwhelming, right? So we go there. We're for 5 days. We're there. The food's okay. The food's fine. But then, like by Wednesday, by day 3, we're like, I think that chicken is like the chicken from Monday. Like it was like they were just putting out the same food, nothing refreshed, whatever. And we were on the same page about that. But Fran will be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go get that tres leches. Tres leches, if you don't know, guys, is like a moist cake, is how I would define it. It's like a cake with like a coffee type bottom, and it's I think it's like
it's a 3-layer cake. It is
there you go.
Tres. It's 3 milks. So honestly, I have no business. I have no business.
And we were sharing a room.
I am crying. I have absolutely no business eating one milk, let alone 3. My stomach was like, girl, what are you doing?
Mess.
But it's
That
like,
is so
there's
funny.
like a cream on the top, and then it's a cake, and Delon always drags me. Delon be like, you love a wet cake?
She loves a wet cake.
That's how I
But-
should have known. I should have been messing with men. I love it.
Girl, she should have known she wanted that soft. She wanted that soft bit. Okay.
I love a wet cake. I don't know why.
Wait, I can actually picture you taking that first bite. I'm like, it's good. Yeah. Wait, and Fran's like, you don't like this? You don't like this?
I was like, I think it's kind of good. Delana's like, and here's the other thing about it too, is it's ugly. It's not an attractive dessert. Usually they put like a little cherry on top, and sometimes you get it in like a little ramekin, so it's like an individual thing. No, this was just a big tray of tres leches, and you had to use a big spoon. So when you put it on the plate, it's just like bleh. It looks
And
just
it's like gelatinous.
It was
it's
good
like
though. I loved it.
Well, and it's also like there's that Mexican dessert flan. Like
Mhm.
I don't like flan because of the texture, and like there's a texture thing. I guess I'm a texture
There
person.
are
but, like,
texture. There are texture people that will avoid
Yeah.
whole food groups because of texture, but not me.
Oh, girl.
Give it to me.
She
Give it to
said-
me sloppy. Give it to me wet.
sloppy and wet. Wait, the other thing I wanted to talk about is us being offered cocaine everywhere.
Everywhere we went, people were trying to offer us drugs.
Cocaine.
It was so racist, and maybe they were offering it to everyone,
might
but
have
it
been.
did feel like we were being targeted.
Well, and do you remember all of those? This is a tangent, but all of those Americans who were dying in Dominican Republic. This was like in the before 2020.
Because they were doing
Nope.
drugs.
Yeah, nobody said anything, but they were buying street drugs.
Yeah,
And that's how
don't
they
do
died.
that. Do not do that.
Stay away.
Don't do that. So we definitely did that. There was also us walking because we did leave the resort, which we'll talk
Yes.
about when we talk about a few other vacations. But leaving the resort is when it really set in that we were at a Groupon resort because you see the other places and you're like, oh shit, we fucked up.
Yeah, we walk by and they have like the curtains are flying through the wind and everyone's sitting al fresco and you're like,
and the name of the resort is outside and it's like big and sparkly and like
Bright.
just looks all bright and cool, and ours was like wah, wah, wah.
It's so true. We also got matching tattoos there, which I really
Yes.
like. You know what I wanted to talk about? I remember when I was like, we should get tattoos, and I never told you this. I was so surprised when you're like, okay. The way you responded, I was like, oh wow. I thought it would be like convincing you, but like it just warmed my heart that you were like, okay, let's do it.
It's really funny that you say that because in hindsight, I did have 2 really small tattoos, and it is genuinely so stereotypical to get a tattoo on
I know.
vacation. But I was excited. Do you remember that there? Okay, so here's the thing: if you decide to get a tattoo on vacation, my advice is to go small, get something simple.
Yes.
Don't go nuts with a new artist. Do you
know
remember there
exactly
was
what
a
you're talking
lady
about.
that got like a dog? She
Her
got, like,
dead dog.
her dead dog tattooed on her, and it was a big fucking tattoo, and it
wasn't cute.
It was so bad.
It was like
It was giving like, you know how like when you order something online from like a Facebook ad and
from
then
like
you get it and you're
Temu
like
or whatever.
from Temu or from Shein or one of those
Shein.
or Wish.
Oh,
You get it and you're like and you take it out of the box and it's like wah, 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 like as you take it out. That's what this woman's tattoo looked like. You're like,
it was, and then we were like,
"Oh."
did we make a mistake?
Yeah, but we just got an infinity symbol. We
yeah,
were like,
right.
Forever, forever, ever,
That's
ever.
right.
Yeah, and so it is funny that you say that you were surprised that I had that reaction because now I have like a big tattoo around it. I added like a bunch of flowers and stuff. But it to me, I was just like, whatever. Like we're young, we're here. We picked something small and easy, and it was great.
Well, and it's a great story thing too, because I don't have many. I got 2 there, and I have a story around one, and then the second one, I was like, "Yeah, me and my best friend got this," and they're like, "Oh my god!" And I love my tattoos. I thought about getting more, because they're so small that people don't see them.
Yes,
and
I
then people are
love
like,
a sneaky tattoo.
I never noticed that tattoo that you have. And I mean, I've worked with people for years, and they'll go, "Oh my god, you have a tattoo there?"
Yeah.
So I really like that they're really small.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna blow my nose. My
Okay.
fucking allergies. Hold on. can see my nose glistening in the camera.
I was also gonna say she was just going, she was going through climbs, okay, climates. So you're she's readjusting.
I know. Okay.
So this trip definitely falls under the vacation label, I think. It was about relaxing, but you know, as someone who travels, I wanted to do more at the resort. I wanted there to be
Mhm.
like, this is my fix, right? I just think there should be games. Why didn't they have us like, you know, we made fast friends on the
Yes,
beach
we
with those
did.
two girls, which was lovely.
Mhm.
But like, I wanted them to like set up a volleyball net for us. Where was the live music? Where was the dance beach party? I want some hype man, you know, being like, like getting us going, because it was very like just like be there, you know, and I wanted to like
Yeah.
do more.
Yeah, no, that's totally valid. And they didn't have like a spa, like they had those girls doing the massage, but they didn't have like a spa moment. And in
Right.
hindsight, that's something that I love about going on vacation is doing lots of restorative stuff. So that would have been nice. My fix is more of a fix for the audience. Remember that a discounted vacation is going to be a discounted experience. If you are
Ooh.
getting something for a lesser price. And again, there's nothing wrong with bargain shopping. I am a budget bouge bitch. I love to save my money. But
Mm,
then you have to like measure your expectations.
right.
Granted, it would have been nice to have air conditioning. Like I don't think that that's a big thing to ask for, but like the food, for example, and like the chairs and the tablecloths, and even just like the building itself was kind of old.
Sad.
But those are things that you have to keep in mind because if a resort is offering a significant discount, because remember, our flights were included,
Yeah.
there's a reason for it. They
Right.
need to get bodies into the establishment. And so I think if I had gone into it with the expectation of, this isn't going to be amazing, but I'm there with my best friend and I'm there to have fun,
Right.
I wouldn't have been as disappointed by the accommodations.
I hear you. I hear you on that one wholeheartedly. And I think again, this was my like our first vacation together, but also like a
Hmm.
big like, oh, I'm going to a resort and like
Yeah.
inclusive. Like it was I put a lot of pressure on it, and then going forward I was like, don't do an all inclusive. That was my takeaway. I was like, all inclusives are
Oh,
great, but then
really?
yeah, but we'll get to that one, right?
That
But
changed real quick.
listen, stay with Francesca, yo. She'll show you the way, okay? So our next vacation together, I didn't realize doing the research for the episode, friend, that it would be another 8 years before we took another vacation together. Isn't that crazy?
8 years?
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that surprises me because it didn't feel like 8 years.
It didn't, because we visit each other. You know,
And
you
we
come
talk
to
to
this
each
coast.
other all of the time.
You know what I mean? So our next friendcation together was also in Mexico. In 2022, we went to Puerto Escondido in Oaxaca, Mexico.
Now, listen.
I
know. First of all,
it breaks my
I love
little
how-
heart. It breaks my
I
little
love
heart.
how well you know me. You know me so fucking well. We have to talk about this Airbnb because it was beautiful.
Stunning.
It was so cool. It was like all stone and there was a pool in the middle
In the
and there was
living room.
a big cutout in the ceiling so that you could see up into the night sky. You could watch the sunset. But this place was a fucking death trap. It was all stone and there was like a staircase with no banister on the side. Well, it looks like there's a banister, but like there's no enclosure on the stairs, so you
Right.
could literally slip and fall right down the middle of them.
Yeah.
There was no couch. Like everything was hard and
You know,
stone and cold, and I just wanted to put my feet up, and I was like, there's like stools, there's no back on the stool. Like
well, and this is such a great. This vacation is where I learned, like that you're like how you want to vacation, how you want to.
Mhm.
How you want to trip, because I did not even clock any of this until like I think like three days in or something. You're like,
Mhm.
yo, there's nowhere to sit down. Like, where's the couch at? And I mean, we're in
No.
the house. The apartment was it was definitely open air.
Mhm.
So like I feel like if you had actual fabric, like rain
Yeah.
or humidity or something might ruin it.
Mhm.
But they have a hammock and then like kind of lawn chairs. They didn't have anywhere to like sit down and like watch a
No.
movie if you wanted to.
No,
right?
and also because it was all stone, thank God I was okay, but I slipped and busted my ass.
You really did.
I busted my ass and I was like, yo, this could have been so bad. I was like, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like,
What?
no children allowed. Your
That's
baby
what-
will die. Like,
Well, and it was really set up for like either a couple or like two couples traveling together, right?
I
Like,
would not put two couples in this place.
you wouldn't put two couples in there?
I don't know. I feel like the thing is it was so beautiful, but it was small. Like, y'all would be on top of each other. Like, the living space was not very big. I feel like if 4 people were in there, it would be very cramped.
Really? I do think 4 people could be in there. I mean, because there were 2 like big bedrooms with 2 separate bathrooms, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, you and I, it was fine if we were there, but like I think it would fit 4 okay. I mean, you have to like those 4 people. Like you really need to like
Yes,
them.
exactly. You will absolutely be on top of each other in a space like this. And this is a perfect example of just thinking about, in terms of a fix, what kind of vacation you want to have. Because this is
Mhm.
a very beautiful spot. I surprised Delon with a photographer on this trip.
It was amazing.
It was great. We took these great photos that again look like we're fucking married
We
because
looked like
I'm on Delon's back
Wait,
laughing.
this one with her on my back because the photographer was like, "Yeah, hop on his back." Fran is like, I wish you could see her face. Maybe we'll try to post it on Instagram. Fran's like, "Help me!" I'm
Yes, no.
smiling, and she's like, "What is happening?"
No, I look terrified. I was so worried about getting up there. We're also wearing all white.
Right.
Why did we just and then there's all of these, the photos are hilarious. The photographer was incredible. We will tag him when we post these photos, but he had us doing all of these poses that felt like engagement photos. Like,
Right.
I'm leaning my head on Delon's back lovingly. It looks like we're in a Lifetime movie where Delon has cheated on me and I took him back anyway.
Well, at one point, I'm like in the sand, like not knowing what to do, and I'm just kind of sitting there, like. It was just so awkward. I couldn't pose by myself very well, and he wasn't. He didn't know what to tell me to do. But Fran's photos, though.
Oh, I'm giving sex pot.
She's in the jungle. She's in the grass. She's giving all. And what I appreciated about it, Fran, was like did not care who saw. She was like, "No, I'm doing a thing." You're
Oh,
welcome.
people were walking by us as we were taking photos and they were taking pictures of us.
Right.
They were like, who is that? I was really feeling myself. You know what I mean? I'm newly
Right.
divorced. The titties were tittying. I don't know what happened, but the
Ooh.
boobs came in. And I'm wearing this like white bustier bra top and this long flowy skirt. I mean,
It's
the photos are
cute.
gorgeous. We look great. And I think that this is a recommendation that I will make to everyone from here to the end of time. Get a photographer when you go on vacation.
It's so smart.
You don't need to be an influencer, because the girlies were dragging me on Facebook. Well, if your vacation's content. No, if you are with your family and you don't want to hand your phone to a random tourist, go on Instagram, hashtag photographer, and wherever it is that you're going. Shout out to Onika Raymond. She's the one that taught me this trip. And DM a few photographers, especially if you're going for like an anniversary or a friend's birthday or something like that. A professional who knows how to light you and shoot you. Make sure there are Black people in their portfolio.
Yes.
Make sure they know how to get the skin right. But yeah, it was such a great thing to look back on, and these photos are adorable.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we can always go back to them, you know, for not only for uses for the podcast, but like I was in doing this, I was like, oh man, these are such great memories, like really, really great memories, you know?
Do you have any fixes for this trip?
I do. So we drove. We had to. So because we got an Airbnb, we actually had to drive to Puerto Escondido from wherever we flew in. I can't remember the city we flew into.
Yeah, I think we had like a 40-minute drive.
Yeah, and it wasn't the worst. It was nice to have a car if we needed it.
And you drove the whole time, which I really appreciated. You volunteered. You were like, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, it was totally fine. But I like don't want that burden. You know, I want to like, I know there isn't really
there's
Uber.
no Uber. There was no Uber where we were at.
And there were taxis around, but like I would choose, because we were not far from like the main strip. So I would choose to like not have a car, because that was a little bit of a hassle. But we had air conditioning, which was cute. But the main fix I think I have for this is this trip was where I realized like the ways in which we travel differently, or we vacation differently. And because we have like a fucking long ass relationship, it was like you could do your own thing, I could do my own thing when we needed to, and there was no need for a discussion about it, right?
Yeah, we had
Which,
lots of times where we were like reading and not
yeah,
talking to each other.
yeah. So just like that's my fix. Just like, know who you're traveling with,
Hmm.
and be either willing to ask for what you need and say, hey, I need some of my alone time. I'm going to take a walk,
Yeah.
because because it's such a truncated time, you feel like you have to spend all of the time together. You really don't. We both like our alone time. I recharge by being the only person breathing in the room sometimes. So that'd be my fix for it too.
Yeah, I would also shout out, this was on this trip, this was the first time that you and I ever really had friction. And
Hmm.
I genuinely, I remember a little bit of what it was about. I think it was about like where we wanted to eat or something like that. And I was really proud of us because while it was like a pain point and like we
Hmm.
definitely both did not see the situation the same, and like we kind of needed some time away from each other and we were kind of giving each other the silent treatment for a second, when we finally had the conversation, it was such a healing moment for both of us because we were
Hmm.
able to say, your friendship is so important to me, and I never want anything to come in between us. And especially if it's not something stupid like, where are we going to eat? And I was
Right.
so proud of you for advocating for yourself and saying, look, I'm not always good at saying what I need. And so this is a moment where I need to eat this thing, and that's what I fucking want to eat. And that's why I'm putting my foot down on this. And it was an eye-opening moment for me where I was like, that's true. I always say to you, Delon, you got to speak up for yourself. You got to say what you want. And now you're doing it. And I'm like, no, I want this. And
Right.
so it was an eye-opening moment for me because I was like, yeah, this is not personal, right? And like, who knows what you might encounter when you go on a vacation? Like, sometimes you're going to see things differently. And I will say, we both have substances in our body when this
We
happens.
did. We did.
So
We
that
were.
was also
Mhm.
part of it.
Right.
We were a little tipsy.
Yes. Yes.
But to our credit, this was the first time we'd ever had any real friction.
Right.
And we just squashed it. And we were like, you know what? It took us a minute to get through it. And so, my reminder to folks is, especially if you're going on vacation with a loved one or a partner or friends, keep in mind that there might come a time where y'all get on each other's nerves just because you
Mm.
are sharing space, and especially if there are substances involved. And make a plan for how you are going to deal with conflict.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Don't be talking about behind each other's backs. Don't go texting a friend so that you can talk shit. Say to the person, hey, I want us to have a great vacation. Can we just talk about this so that we can get it out of the way and go back to having fun? Because the last thing that you want to do is have a beautiful trip that you spent money and time on
Right.
to turn into a nightmare situation for you and the people you're traveling with.
Well, and I would add too, right? It's that just strengthens relationships, right? Like
Hmm.
like that happened for us. My sister, who's a therapist, has this phrase about rupture and repair. Like most relationships, you rupture, there's a rupture, and you figure out how to repair it, and hopefully that just becomes quicker over time. And that's what we did. It was a
Yeah.
slight rupture, and we were like, no, because we're allowed to. Be mad at each other. You're allowed to someone's allowed to get on your nerves, and you still love them, and you still can whatever. So that rupture and repair was just, to me, was a testament to the strength of our relationship,
Yeah.
and also who we are as a people. Who we are as people. So I would advocate, just put wind behind what you said about other people, being willing to have those conversations with people that you're on vacation with, and or don't go on vacation with those people if you can't repair. They're
Listen,
not your
if
people.
well, and if you can't repair, because I know some people have this where they say, "Oh, I've had problems with this person, and I can't bring it up to them because they're going to do A, B, and C, or I know how they act in these situations," which I try to discourage people from, as you and I say, knitting a sweater, like
Hmm.
deciding what's going to happen before it happens. But if you are in relationship with somebody where you cannot be honest with them, then I would argue that's not somebody that you need to stay in community with.
Right.
My other fix for based on this trip is avoid Airbnbs that don't have couches, closets, or storage space. I'm sorry. I
Wait, she
need a
was so
couch.
mad about the kitchen.
I
She was like, "There's no cabinets. You can't put
there.
anything nowhere."
Okay, here's the thing. Now, listen, this also depends on what kind of vacation you want, right?
Right.
Because if you are vacationing and you are prepared to eat out for every meal, then it
Yes.
doesn't matter if there's no storage space in the kitchen. But for us, Delan and I committed, again, this is advice for y'all. We said we didn't want to eat every meal out. We went to the grocery store and we got food so that we could eat breakfast and lunch at home, and then we
Yeah.
would eat out for dinner. Well, here we are in a space that has no pantry. So all of our snacks had to sit on the island.
Right.
And there was just no place to put them. And they
And
got
it's
in the
open air, so like there are
and it
bugs and everything, right?
exactly. You got a box of cookies and there's going to be bugs in the cookies because there's no place to put them. Like this is something
Right.
to think about. And especially like the closet thing, right? The rooms were so beautiful, but there was no place to hang your clothes up. There was like a
Right.
peg in the wall that you could put two pieces of clothes on. There was no dresser. And again, some people are okay with being out of their suitcase for the vacation, but for me, I want to put my stuff in a
No,
drawer.
she brought looks, and she needed to iron, she needed to steam. Okay.
Exactly. I want to have my stuff put away and easily accessible. I don't want to be digging in my suitcase every single time I need to put a look together.
Yeah.
So that is something that I think about going forward based on this trip.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say about this trip, I did not do a bunch of research for this trip because I
Mhm.
thought it was going to be very vacationing, like, relaxing. And then, well, it was vacationing and relaxing, but then we went out and we discovered like so much more this town had to offer.
Yeah.
And Oaxaca is like, the food capital of Mexico, that state. Yo, we did not have any bad food while we were
Oh,
there.
we went on a food tour and the
Yo.
food was bomb at every
Bangin'.
spot.
Banging. So I would have now. I think the thing that I took away from that trip, even if you do plan on having a vacation, do a little bit of research to see
Mhm.
what's around, because you never know what you might find that you might enjoy. And now going back, if and when I go back to Oaxaca, I'm gonna be like, where is the food? Where's
Yeah,
the food?
I highly recommend doing a food tour. And we just found that one on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
Shout out to TripAdvisor. This is not sponsored, but I have used them a number of times when vacationing to find spots. And I really trust the reviews there.
Me too.
And also, if you remember when my ex and I won that trip to Morocco, it was through TripAdvisor.
Oh,
And
it
we had an
was.
amazing time. The food was incredible. The lodgings were incredible. And every place we went to was like a TripAdvisor approved spot. So shout out to them because you definitely will learn a lot about the places you're visiting from people who have visited there, not from biased people who are being paid to review things favorably.
Right.
Next up, we went to Spain for Delon's 40th birthday. Now, as you maybe heard us talk about this on the pod a number of times, 2023 was a huge banner year for both of us because we did turn the big 4-0. And Delon basically planned a destination wedding in Spain to celebrate his birthday. There was a PDF
Yo.
and it had links in it. Excuse me. There were times that were mandatory dinners
Yes.
and such. And then there were also free times scheduled in with a list of sightseeing and things that Delon recommended. I mean, it was so well put together. Delon, didn't you get a travel agent to help you plan this trip?
Yeah, my friend Nathan Hancock is it's his Roboto, I think is his company. He
Mhm.
switched companies. He has his own company, Roboto, and we'll link it in the show notes because he's an amazing travel agent and really helped me a bunch. But it was overwhelming. I was
Yeah.
like you said, it was a small wedding.
And how many people were at the soiree?
16 people came. I have really good friends. I invited
Really,
like,
emphasis on the really good friends.
I really do. Like, I invited 30 people because it's a wedding, and 16 people were able to come, which was amazing.
Mhm.
And yeah, shout out to my friend Brian because I was like, this is overwhelming. I hired my friend Nathan, and they both were like, hey, if people are coming, they're planning their own vacation, right?
Yeah.
So just say, hey, here is where you need to be, one thing every day. And let them do their own thing, which was so smart because everyone felt like, like they weren't being bussed around and hustled
Yeah.
around, But I also was like, I'm paying for certain things, so you need to show on time, because there were some people were still late. You know who you are.
Not me.
I know you
Not
weren't,
for
girl. You were
Jessica.
early, girl. You were early. But the reason I did this, and this is, I think, a little bit of a fix, a little bit of some advice, is that like I have such a hard time celebrating myself, right? And I think not everybody has not everybody experiences that, but this was an exercise in really celebrating myself and asking the people that I know love me to also come and celebrate with me, right? I also love Barcelona. I love
Mhm.
Spain so much. Girl, I love some Spain. So I also wanted to share
After
that with
talking
them.
about it for his whole goddamn life, I was
Wait a
so
minute.
proud of him for finally getting there.
Wait. So when Fran and I listen, class. So when Fran and I went to Mexico in 2014, that was the same year when I turned 30 and I went to Spain that year. But leading up to it, I was so excited about it that I was like, I'm going to Spain. I kept talking to her. I'm going to Spain.
And I think you're downplaying. It was like a solid 2 years. The Delon was like, someday I'm gonna go to Spain. When I'm in Spain, it's about to be like this. I can't wait to get to. I was like, nigga, if you don't go to fucking Spain, go.
Wait, and then one time I was like, did I tell you I'm going to Spain? She said, yes, you have told me. Our whole fucking
I wish you
friendship.
would stop talking and go.
So it was just such a great opportunity to share that with everyone. And again, I love Spain. Spain is not sponsoring this podcast
No, I wish they
because
were.
I wish they were, right? Because you get beach, but you also get travel, right? I go to
Mhm.
this town called Sitges, which is like a beach town, but you can also, like, you went to Madrid, right? You get to go to Madrid and like see all the sites, get the museums, and Barcelona is like also a beach, but also a lot of like the Picasso Museum and all of the monuments and the nightlife. Okay, wait a minute, because there were times where we didn't come home while you were in bed, but we,
Well, I went. I
Fran was in
went to bed. And you know what? To my credit, and this is a perfect example again of vacation versus travel, because you're right. You do get both in Spain. I went to Madrid for like the second part of the trip, so we were all together in Barcelona, but we did not go to a beach town. And in hindsight, I really wish we had gone to a beach
Yeah.
town, because that's the trip that I wanted. I was like in the midst of the strike. I've been getting those steps in here on the picket lines, and then I went to Spain. And I was like, I just want to sit down, and it was like, we got to
Right.
walk up this hill if we're gonna get to the next restaurant, Um, but I did have a really great time. And again, I think to your point about vacationing versus traveling, Spain is a place you need to plan. You can't just
Yes.
like fly by the seat of your pants. You need reservations. You need to buy tickets for things. You need to know how far away one thing is. Everything is spread out. They're not on top
Right.
of each other. So, again, shout out to Shamika, because girl had me getting the heart rate up. She'd be like, well, it's only a 40-minute walk. And I'm like, a 40-minute walk?
Well, also, like, you live in LA, and so, like, to me, I'm like, okay, right? Because in New York, I walk
Listen,
so
listen,
much.
I used to live in New York. I know.
See,
I'm
remember
not
when she
opposed.
said she wasn't claiming New York? Remember when she
I,
said she?
I was there for 11 years. The fuck not? I'm about to not claim New York. I was walking all over
You
the
were
city.
stomping. You were
But
stomping.
again, it's the difference between, and this is the fix, right? It's the difference between knowing what you're getting into. And for me, I went on that trip and I said, I'm going to do this differently. I'm just going to go with the flow, because I am so type A. I decided
Yeah.
that I wasn't going to plan. And then I got there and I was like, oh shit, I should have planned. And Sham and I had a whole different vacation post your birthday. And to circle back to your previous fix, know who you're vacationing with. I love
Yes.
Shamika, but Shamika wants to sit in the coffee shop and write in her journal and look out the window. And I'm like, I could do that at home. Like, I don't.
Right. Right.
That's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she wants to do yoga in the park, and I'm like, why? We could do yoga at home.
At home, right? I
You
want to
know?
see some shit.
I want to see some shit. And I will say, she did get me to go to a pole dancing class. And she has
Oh.
never gotten me to go to a pole dancing class in the United States. So I don't know what the fuck I was on taking a pole dancing class in Spanish. But I went and I had
Proud
a
of
great
you.
time. It was
See, look at
really
that.
hard. It was really hard and it was really challenging, because like you're wearing like little short shorts and you have to be all like sensual and like rolling your hips and shit. And you know me, I don't do sexy
Listen,
like
but listen. She's graduated. Prudy has. We call this
the
version
death of
Fran.
Prudy.
The
Prudy
death
is
of
don't know her. I
I'm
was
I'm proud of you.
I was having my fun time, but also like Sham was kind of on her like eat, pray, love moment, so
Yeah.
she wanted to have alone time. And again, I don't speak Spanish, so I was like, oh man, like there were times where she was like, okay, I'm gonna go take a yoga class. I'll be back at this time, and I was like, oh, okay. So I was like
Yeah.
roaming the streets of Madrid by myself and like window shopping, and I still had a great time. But it was and we had to talk about it again. This is like the adult friendship shit where I was like, hey, I would have liked to have known that you needed alone time on this trip before we took this trip. Because if
Right.
that was the case, maybe I would have been the only girl at Sitges with you guys. You know what I mean? I
Right.
was like, maybe I would have done something differently. Um, but again, it's just you live and you learn. You live, you learn. Sorry, I love that song.
No, I love it. I love it. But I also think I
Yeah.
just want to point out that like that's the incremental challenge that I talk about when I travel alone a lot, where
Mhm.
I go, oh God, I'm feeling uncomfortable, or I need to surmount this challenge, taking a fucking pole dancing class when you normally wouldn't do it, right? Or like I took a cooking class one time in Spanish in
Oh,
Barcelona, and I
love a
was like,
cooking class.
listen, the Spanish wasn't that great then, and I was like, oh, and then thankfully the instructor, like, helped me out, and because they could speak English as well. But like it's that small stuff that I go, oh God. But the takeaway is, oh, you've learned something now. Not that everything has to be a lesson,
Yeah.
but a lot of things at our age tend to be lessons.
Yeah.
But the other thing I'll say is like, if you're able to, I know that not everybody is able to do these types of trips, right? We are very fortunate. We've worked hard to be able to do them.
Yeah.
But like, if and when you are able to do them, I think like soar, and I wanted to say run to them, because they
Mhm.
do help your growth. They help you discover what you like and what you don't like, how, like you said at the top, how you want to travel and how you don't want to travel, who you can
Yeah.
travel with and who you can't. And I think they're just life enriching things. There's so many
Yeah.
people who don't have passports even.
Yeah, and I will also add that like we are talking about international travel, but you can definitely travel within your home state, within your
Yes,
home country. There is so much of the United States that I've never explored, and I know there's lots to see, do, experience, and eat.
it's a massive
Um,
country, right?
Absolutely. And so the other thing that I would add about vacationing or travel, it's really nice to have something to look forward to. Put it on the
Hmm.
calendar, book the time. Again, even if you're not able to physically leave where you're at, to just say, I'm taking a week off from the world on this date, it will get you through. Because when some
Yes.
bullshit is going down in your life, you will be like, how many days? Put it up.
Yes.
Put it up on the fridge. I would give myself a little
How many
countdown.
sleeps?
How many drag
Ready?
me? Count the sleeps.
Count
I
the
mean,
sleeps.
I'm like a toddler in this bitch. 10 sleeps and I'm out of here. Because people will test your patience, and knowing that you can put this aside and think about you on a beach or you sleeping in, a big comfy bed with specialty
Mm,
pillows and a little lavender spray, whatever it is that gets you in the mindset of this is a restorative moment for myself, it is so helpful to get you through those difficult times and people and moments in your life. You deserve a fucking break.
yo, and also therein, just to counteract that, like, because that's a lot of pressure on that one week you got off, right? That's a
Fair,
lot of
fair.
pressure. So also just managing your expectations and being like you were, I think, very much. Well, I think being adaptable, right? In Spain,
Hmm.
it sounds like you were like, okay, this is not. I should have done this. I should have done that. This is that. But you also like were mad malleable, and we're like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with the flow, and you got to stretch yourself a little bit. So managing expectations, I think, is huge. And I think I'm planning another wedding for myself when I turn 50, because it was really nice. It was a
Oh
really
my
nice trip.
god, I think that's great. I think it's so smart. When I shared that we had gone to Spain for your 40th, I had lots of people saying, I've never thrown a party for myself. I should do that.
I hadn't either. I had never thrown a big party for myself.
Yeah, and I will also add, because I did get a lot of messages from people that were like, I don't even know if I would have that many friends to invite to a party or something like that.
Mm,
That's okay.
that's
Go
totally
by
okay.
your damn self.
Talk about it.
Or this is a perfect segue into our next trip. For my 40th, we went to Cancun, and I said, Delon, if your birthday was the wedding, my birthday is the honeymoon. It's just gonna be me and you. I don't need lots of people. I don't need activations and all these other things. I just want to lay by the pool or on the beach with a fruity drink, and I want to go to the spa and get massages, and
Yes.
that's all I want to do.
And listen, Fran's we went to Cancun on this all-inclusive resort, and it was like the bookend of our resort journeys because that, like we said, that first one left much to be desired. But Fran really understood the assignment with this one. She opted for this all-inclusive resort, and everything was taken care of. Like everything was like concierge to the point where I was like, I live in New York, so people are like, come up to you, they're like, can I take that, sir? I'm like, no, what do you want from me?
Oh yeah. And at first we were like, this is annoying, and by the end we were like, Julio, can you pick this up?
I literally, there was butler service, guys. I've never had there was butler service, and he was like, Mr. Grant, do you need anything? How's your night going? And I was like, oh God. There was turn down service. The first time I experienced turn down service, this is bougie, was in Spain. But they put the little chocolate on the pillar, and they close the curtains, and they pull down the blanket.
And the little towel was shaped like a duck when you got in the room.
And they had a little note on there, some like little proverb to tell you how good your life is. I was about it.
Not a proverb. On my birthday, I came back to my room and there was a chocolate piñata hanging that you were supposed to hit the piñata and stuff came out of it. My TV had Happy Birthday Francesca Ramsey on it with like like playing and like fireworks and shit. I was like, yo, this is incredible. It was so wonderful.
So worth it.
Food was so good. And I found this resort on TikTok.
Right.
Now, this is a fix or a piece of advice for anybody looking for resorts or vacation destinations. What I did is I was looking for all-inclusive resorts in Mexico, and I found someone who is not an influencer that had done a review. And I think that is important because oftentimes influencers are not giving you the true story because they're being paid to tell you about an experience. Right. So of course they're getting the 5-star treatment because the resort or the restaurant or wherever is invested in them having a good time.
Right.
Versus I found a couple who had gone to this resort for their honeymoon and was going back for their vacation. So for me, I was like, that sounds good because they already went here and they loved it and they were like, let's go back. And this resort had multiple locations, and they had gone to one location for one trip. And the second location was where you and I went, and they were like, this was the better location, better food, beach access. The other one, there was like a
rock access,
a rocky shoreline, so you couldn't go into the water. And so I was like, okay. And I watched a number of their videos there, and they had a great time. And again, this person did not have hundreds of thousands of followers. I think they maybe had like 1,000 followers. The videos didn't have a ton of views. And to me, I could tell that they were giving me an authentic and honest review of the experience. And that spoke volumes for me. That's the reason, again, I shout out TripAdvisor, because it's not people who are career travelers. It's regular ass people giving you reviews.
Yeah. And I think I'll second that, because the service that we got at the resort really is a testament to probably why these people went back, because I just felt so taken care of. This place had 5 restaurants, 3 pools, anything you needed, 24-hour, room service. Like it was really worth all of the entire trip. I think the only thing that I would have switched around was the entertainment.
Oh,
do you remember the entertainment?
Yeah, listen, the magician.
Talk about that magic show. There was this magician who was so tired. He was so lazy.
Sir, do you want to be here?
Do you want to be here? Well,
do you have somewhere else to be?
Well, and I'll say the magic was great. Listen, I was in awe. I couldn't believe he pulled that card out. I had written something on it, and it was the card. He found the card.
The tricks were good. You know what the problem was that there was so much lead up. He was telling you personal stories and all this. By the time the trick happened, I was like, now what was my number? I don't remember.
Literally. But I would gladly go back there. And I mean, the other thing is I have switched. I've come back to the all-inclusive train. From Playa del Carmen. I was like, nah, I ain't doing that shit. But now
this was a vibe.
This is the way to go.
Honestly, when we sat down for dinner, to leave the dinner table and not pay a bill, I thought I was stealing. I was like, I can go now? This is it?
I never got over that. I literally never got over that. It was so crazy, I felt like I needed a tip or something.
Do you have any fixes for this trip?
Let me see. Oh yeah. So the only the fixes that I would have for this trip is that I guess similar to uh the other all inclusive. I just wish there was like more stuff to do, right?
Mm,
So like you and I toward the on our last day we met a couple other people and we were like engaging with them. And I mean, it's not about meeting other people. It's just you and I spending time together for your birthday. But I just wanted like a little bit more of an activity. Like, is there a game we can play, or you know what I
mhm.
mean? Because there was like checkers and chess and stuff like that, but I wanted like they did have like classes to take in the morning. I
Well,
think it
they
was like
did
yoga or
have
something.
volleyball on the beach, but someone came by and asked
Oh,
us if
he
we wanted to
did.
play
You're right.
volleyball, and we
You're right.
definitely said no.
We had just got
Uh,
down there though, girl. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I had a really great time. I went to the Coco Bongo for your
mhm.
birthday. You got a little sick, so you couldn't go, which was fun.
I know. Oh my
Um,
God.
but yeah, yeah,
Food poisoning on my actual birthday. I said that it was a metaphor because I was expelling 2023
ooh,
from my body.
literally and figuratively. Um,
My
do you have
fix
fixes?
my only fix, it's very, very small. And I think this is a personal fix, like something that I would do differently next time. I wish our rooms had been next to each other.
Uh
I
huh.
would have loved if we could have, again, have our own beds, have our own spaces. But sometimes you go to resorts or hotels and they have a door
A
adjoining
linked
the
door,
rooms.
yeah,
Like, I would have loved, for example, if we're getting ready for dinner, we could have had a drink beforehand and we could have been able
yeah,
to get ready in our rooms and we could have played music and stuff like that. And that kind of goes back to our round robin episode where I said like there needs to be a new category for platonic friendships, because I
mm,
would have loved if I could have just checked a box and they say, okay, we're going to put you two together. Like
yeah,
that would have been really nice. But other than that, it was truly the best vacation experience I've had in recent memory, and I do think that that is a testament to the fact that I did so much research.
yeah,
So for those of y'all that are planning a vacation, do not skimp out on doing the legwork, reading those reviews and a variety of reviews so that you don't just get one narrow perspective. Again, we also hired a photographer for this trip
yes,
for my birthday, and you've seen the photos, folks. They're beautiful. We
they're
look
bomb.
great. We're glowing. And shout out to you and I for not looking married in those photos. We weren't wearing
Wait,
white.
we tried real hard for
We
this. Where we were
tried.
like, he was like, "Why don't we do this?" And we are like, "No, no, 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 we're not doing that. We can't look married. We cannot look married.
Yeah,
We've
no,
got those photos in the bag."
we look great. And we also color coordinated our outfits, which again, shout out to us because we're glowing. The colors are
Yo,
giving vacation moment.
it's
But
also like I also just love that. We're looking at the photos right now. We're walking on the beach, laughing beautifully.
mhm,
We're also like the skin is so chocolatey,
we
and the
look
background is
so
so.
tan.
We really got tanned. We really got tan. But the background is so light. It just is like mwah, it's giving me Caribbean. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, we
Um,
look great.
one of the other things that I wanted to ask you, Fran, is I've never been on a cruise, and just like highlights, are there a couple like you've been on several of them? Is there anything
I've
you would
been
change about
on
a cruise?
I've been on 2 cruises. I got to be honest, I will never go on a cruise again.
Oh God, why?
Honestly, it wasn't so much of the cruise and like, please forgive me, class, safe space. It was more of the people. The
Oh,
clientele was giving people that have never been anywhere before. You know what I'm
uh-huh.
saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're in line at the buffet and folks is about to knock you over to try and get to the food. I mean, and people were getting, and this is on both cruises that I've been on, and I went on 2 different ones, and I went on one to Alaska. Lerna, why did we go on a cruise to
Ooh.
Alaska? I don't know, but we went, and then one to the Caribbean, and people were getting sloppy drunk. I mean, it just
Oh, is
was
it all
like,
inclusive as well?
it was all inclusive.
Oh,
And it was just, again, like, no shade to those experiences. I know people that have had a really good time, but that was just not the kind of trip I was having. One, I
right.
was with my family for one trip. The other trip, I was with my ex-husband. But I mean, they were knocking them back. People were getting sloppy. And that was
Mm,
not my vibe. And then also, even though it's all inclusive, it did feel like they were trying to upsell you a lot, because when you stop in the destinations, they're like, do you want to ride dirt bikes? Do you want to do these
okay.
things? And so, like,
if you don't do those things, it's kind of boring. You don't have a lot of time. They stop in the spot and they're like, we're going to be here for 2 hours, 3 hours. You can do these excursions or you can go off on your own. And it's like, if you don't have a plan in place,
Yo,
there's
my
not enough time and you don't want to get left behind. They will leave you.
Yo, that is exactly where my mind went. Did you see that video of those people being left?
Oh, I
by
sent
the
it to you,
cruise?
and the girl was like,
You said it to me.
My booking number is 4, V as in Victor, G as in George, Q as in quick, X as in...
You sent it to me. You always send me shit. Yo, they were wailing about like watching the boat take off.
listen, that is
Crazy.
one time. And y'all, my friends make fun of me because if one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be a preemie baby and show up early. But that is one time you do not want to cut it close.
No.
Do not fly into port the day of your flight, of your trip.
No.
Fly in the night before because there's always bound to be delays
Something.
or weather or whatever.
I
especially if
promise
you're-
you.
Especially if you're traveling in the winter, give yourself a buffer. God forbid something happens with your flight. But people are like, oh, I fly in at 9 a.m. on Monday and the cruise leaves at 12 p.m.
Yo,
No.
that's too cool for school, man.
That is
No.
cutting it way too close. And by that same token, if you are in town for the cruise, show up 30 to 40 minutes early so that you can make sure you have all your documents in
Right.
place. You can get your parking pass. Like there's just so many little things that can go wrong. And the
Right.
boat will not wait for you. They're not going to wait for you. They will leave.
And somebody, I can't remember who told me this, but somebody who worked on the cruises, my friend Broderick, he was telling me that in every cruise, somebody gets left at port.
Oh,
Every
always.
cruise.
And
Because
if you
people don't
get
come back on
left-
time.
I met somebody who got left in one of the stops.
That's what I
not
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, get left at the stop. And then you are responsible for getting
to fly
yourself
your
back,
ass home.
getting your stuff off of the boat.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just a nightmare. And so again, I had a good time on both cruises, but it's just not something I would do again. It feels like you're in a dormitory situation. Everybody's
Yeah.
on top of each other. And when you go to dinner, they pair you up with like random people at dinner. Like there's like a special dress up sit down dinner where they're like, you're at this table. And then you end up with like a random couple that you don't want to
Ooh.
talk to. And you're just
Excruciating.
like, yeah, exactly. And to circle
I'm not drunk
back,
enough for this.
no. And to circle back to when we went to the all inclusive for my birthday, I will say that I liked that people weren't trying to get to know each other. I was like,
Yeah.
I am not here to talk to a stranger. I'm here for my
Mhm.
birthday. Either I'm by my lonesome reading a book or talking to my friend. I'm not playing 20 questions with a stranger. If we end up talking and like sharing a laugh or whatever, cool. But I'm not, what do you do? Oh, yeah. No, I don't want to do any of that.
I'll also say this. This is more of a not a fix necessarily, like an observation. It was a little. The clientele was older. Like we were the youngest people there at 40.
Yes.
Right. So I will say, like, I didn't want to talk to those people. I didn't want to talk to any of them. But if the people were younger and like, I think we probably would have engaged more.
Yeah,
just 'cause,
and
like,
maybe that would
there
be
were a
my
lot of couples
fix.
too, but-
Yeah, there were a lot of couples there. It was an older clientele. It was not a very diverse population.
right. We were
You know,
one of like
that we
Yeah.
could count on one hand how many Black people were there.
right.
So I would say that's something I would look for in the future is a more diverse, more youthful clientele.
Yeah.
And the couple that I saw, to my credit, on TikTok, they were a Black couple and they were young. So
Yeah.
again, I wasn't looking to socialize, but if you are hoping to go to the resort and I will say when we went to the dance party, we brought the party.
Yo, hit
We
it and
started
split
the
it.
party. I mean, there's nothing new about that.
Okay.
Delon and Francesca are always going to dance. But if that's what the experience that you are looking for, you should definitely take a look on Instagram, see people that have tagged the resort and take a look at the clientele and see, are these people that you would want to party with? Maybe
Right.
not. Now that we have reflected on our vacation and traveling experiences and we've offered up how we were going to fix them, we would like to add, do you want to do tips and tricks? We're at 120.
Yeah, let's not do tips and tricks. Let's just go to
Okay.
the glow up. I think that makes sense.
Okay. Now that we've reflected on our vacation and traveling experiences and we've offered how we are going to fix it, it is time for everyone's very favorite segment, the glow up. But before we get into that, let's take a quick break. And we are back. So, okay. And we are back. Delon, do you want to go first with your glow up?
Yeah. So I'm currently working in Boston, like I said at the top of the episode, and I'm giving it up to Winter Snow because she's back with a vengeance. Climate change, what? I will say the reason I bring that up is because I live in New York and we haven't had like snow in the last few years. I'd say last 2 or 3 years. And the same thing goes for Boston. I'm talking to Boston people and it's been snowing up there. And Boston is known for snow. Like I lived up there for grad school and a few years after. But it is snowing. I came home for my days off and I got to go back with sweaters and fucking boots and stuff because it is winter up there. And I grew up in northern Minnesota with a lot of snow and a lot of cold and I don't like it. Me no like
So you
it.
didn't plan. This is so funny because this is related to our vacation topic. You didn't plan your outfits ahead of time because I love to plan.
Well, I'm there for like 2 months, so like it had to be like utilitarian, right? I had to be
Yes,
like
a capsule collection.
I had a capsule. I have a capsule, but the capsule was like giving fall, and it needed to give like deep winter. We're in January, February, and I was like, my looks were looks, and now I need to be like bundled. You know,
Yeah, no,
I
that's
needed
fair.
to bring an extra jacket. I needed to bring like a windbreaker, like rain layer. You know, a couple of hats and long johns. Yo, I didn't bring long johns. Like that is something
Wow.
I know. I haven't used
And you
them in New
lived
York.
and you lived in Boston.
I
That's
just
so
forgot. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I left in 2012. It's been a minute.
Mm.
So it's only been like what was that? Almost 14 years since I've been back. Or is that right? 12.
Wow, that's so
something like that.
funny because so this is also related to my glow up, but also the vacations topic is that I just came back from Sundance. I was in Utah for 8 days and it was cold.
Oh,
And
girl, it looked cold.
it was very, very cold. And on the topic of long johns, I took my ass to Uniqlo and I bought some of that heat tech. This is not sponsor.
She works.
That heat tech is
Works.
real. You don't, and there were times that I had on a little tank top underneath, and I was like, I'm fucking hot. I was sweating. Like, so I was really prepared, and I wore like fleece leggings, and I got heat tech socks for my boots, and I brought different hats, and I like this is a new thing that I've been doing probably. I think I did it when I went to your birthday in Spain, but I might have done it before where I take photos of all of my outfits and then I put them into a notepad and I mix and match. And I'm like making sure that I'm bringing enough things that I can wear as outfits, but I can
Yeah.
also repeat multiple times. I have a color palette, you know, I want to look put together the whole time.
I mean, look, the looks were looking. Your Instagram, the looks were looking. It worked. I'll also say I just got to give you props because we know we talk about you being cold all the damn time. I'm real proud of you for like not only the heat tech, but I mean, this glow up. You're like not complaining. You're like, no, it was
No.
cold, but she handled it. She
It was
took
cold.
care of
It was absolutely cold, but I felt very prepared. So again, that's why I was surprised as somebody that is from Minnesota or grew up in Duluth for you to show up somewhere without some long johns and a hat.
Yo, listen. Yes, I mean, and my scarf was so thin. It was so thin. So I
You
went
need a
to
Lenny Kravitz scarf.
well, I have one. I got one as a gift years ago. Not
Okay.
not that big, not that Lenny Kravitz, but it's like pretty big. And I went to grab a sandwich this afternoon for lunch in New York because I came home for my days off, like I said. And my neck was hot, sweating, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is gonna be great in Boston. I can't wait."
Yeah, New York cold is definitely very different.
The buildings keep the wind out, you know. So, Fran, did you finish your glow up? What is your glow up?
Oh, I have my glow up actually goes to myself. So like I said, got back from Sundance yesterday, and I was there for the Sundance Labs, which is a program for first-time feature writers to get support to work on their first feature script. And I'm picking myself because honestly, I hope I don't get choked up. I've had a really hard time like really believing that I'm a writer. I always joke like I'm a writer, but a lot of times when I make jokes about things and I think that this is a moment of vulnerability, sometimes I'm speaking things into existence because it's a point of insecurity for me and it's easier for me to make a joke about it. And the reality is I've struggled to feel confident as a writer. I feel like I've been stuck in this box as like an internet girl. And as somebody who makes content about social issues, I've been trying to get out of the box of the quote unquote activist. And even as somebody who feels comfortable in comedy, this is a drama script. And it really came out of the fact that when Caitlin, my friend, and I were trying to pitch it before we wrote it, a number of people said, "We love you. We love the story, but you don't have any drama samples. Can you even write drama?" And I was like, what the fuck, And so we wrote this script and coming off of the strike of it all, and Delon, I've been really thinking very seriously about like what the next phase of my career looks like, where I'm like, I don't know if this Hollywood thing is working out. Like, I feel like I've been spinning my wheels for a fucking decade.
Right.
And so to go to Sundance and spend 5 dedicated days talking about my script with incredibly accomplished writers, Dee Reese, Marielle Heller, Dana Stevens, people who have been nominated for Oscars and have worked on just incredible films and TV shows, and who were also fellows of the lab, to sit down with us and say, this is a really good script. This should be a movie, and we're going to help you make this into a reality, was so validating. And when I tell you I cried so many times.
Oh, good.
I just kept crying because I genuinely kept saying, and not that I was going to quit. Like, I wasn't like, fuck Hollywood. I was genuinely just like, okay, I might need to pivot. And I'm still trying to think of different ways that I can keep my lights on, because
girl,
I
tell me
really
about it.
have grown tired of like begging people to hire me and begging people to believe in me. And unfortunately, that's the industry that we're in.
Yeah.
But it was just really affirming to be like, I am a good writer. I'm good. I know how to tell a story, and I know how to see stories that deserve to be told, and that was just really affirming. And to your point about vacationing and traveling, I was traveling with my writing partner, Caitlin, one of my writing partners, because I'm a poly writer.
Okay.
And it was a great experience for us. We had never stayed in a room together before. We spent way more time together than we probably have in our entire friendship. And we are very different. And we learned a lot about each other. And a lot of the things that we learned about each other, we're going to put into the script.
Wow.
And it was just such a transformative experience. And I'm really proud of myself because I did get out of my comfort zone and, take a risk and wrote a script that I feel really proud of. And I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm so holding space for all of that, dude, because even despite working and being a professional, meaning like being paid to write, right? Those gremlins, the insecurity, the imposter syndrome, it never goes away being an artist.
No.
And it is because it is so subjective, it is so ephemeral. Right?
Good job.
It is so intangible, right? And but it's also an industry, right? So like this person might not like your script, that person might love your script. We are always waiting for someone to choose us. So the idea that like not only you and Caitlin have chosen each other and chosen to write this script, but to have it validated and have people support it and say this is good, I know how much that means as an artist. And so first of all, and I'm also just so glad it's your glow up, right? It should be a glow up. We should all be the Niecy Nashes, okay? Ready? Like, so thank yourself, right? Because of the work you do. Like, it's so meaningful and it's so important, and we don't do it enough. So snaps to you, friend.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, class, we have once again come to the end of our show, and now we would like to hear from you. Would you like to take a vacation with us? Why yes or why no? And what kind of traveler are you? Or maybe you would like to suggest a TV show, a celeb, or a brand that we should fix in future episodes. Hit us up on Instagram @FixItPod or email us lemmefixitpod@gmail.com.
And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app. I am DeLon.
And I'm Francesca.
And this was Lemme Fix!
Why do we say it like
We
that?
try to get it, but we never do.